So Pokemon cards have been around for almost 3 decades now, and they continue to be popular among kids and adults alike. They were first introduced in Japan in 1996, and since then they have been released in many countries around the world. And with so many new sets and expansions coming out, it's the perfect time to get started with collecting. Hey everyone, welcome to Sharp Plays, and today I'm going to talk you through the 5 things you need to know before you start collecting Pokemon cards in 2023. I'll also be leaving tips along the way, so make sure you watch the video until the end. So when it comes to starting a new hobby, it's important to understand why you want to pursue it, and this is especially true for collecting Pokemon cards. One of the most common reasons to start collecting Pokemon cards is to complete a specific series or expansion. Since each series features a unique selection of Pokemon cards and artwork, some collectors want to collect every card in that set. Another reason for collecting Pokemon cards is to play the Pokemon trading card game, or TCG. As you collect more cards, you'll have a wider variety of Pokemon to choose from when you're building your deck. And since Pokemon TCG relies heavily on strategy, more cards mean you can fine-tune your playstyle and include rarer or powerful cards with special abilities or attacks that can give you an advantage in the game. Another reason is that people just like having a collection of their favorite Pokemon characters like Squirtle, Bulbasaur, Pikachu, or Charmander, so they're not really aiming to complete a series or expansion. For many people, collecting Pokemon cards is a way to relive fond memories from their childhood, and many adults who grew up with the franchise still have a deep affection for certain Pokemon. And while not everyone collects Pokemon cards for their monetary value, some collectors do see them as an investment opportunity. Rare or limited edition cards can be worth a significant amount of money, especially over time. So, like if I can travel back in time and tell 9-year-old Char to take better care for Pokemon cards, I totally would. Because have you seen how much base set Pokemon cards are worth now? So whatever your reason is, it's important to understand what you want to achieve, because once you start, you'll soon realize collecting Pokemon cards is not cheap. Which brings us to our next topic, determine a budget. It's important to determine how much money you're willing to spend. Collecting Pokemon cards can easily become a very expensive hobby, especially if you're hunting down rare cards or you're trying to complete a certain expansion. So here's my first tip. Always know when release dates are so you can set a budget and avoid overspending. Let's take a look at the latest Sword and Shield expansion, Crown Zenith. The Elite Trainer Box, or ETB, and the 2 Crown Zenith collection boxes came out January 20th. The Pikachu VMAX Special Collection came out February 15th, and the 5 mini tins and tins came out February 17th. Then the Crown Zenith Pin Collections came out April 14th, along with the Morpeko V-Union Playmat Collection, and then finally, the Crown Zenith Premium Figure Collection boxes are set to come out May 5th. So in total, you can expect to spend $540 for this expansion. But this doesn't include all the extra packs and collection boxes you want to get. Which leads to my second tip. If your goal is to collect every card in a certain expansion, getting the booster box will yield the best price per pack. One booster box can get you close to collecting all the common and uncommon cards, and then you can start buying singles for those rare cards in the collection. So now that you have a budget in mind, it's time to figure out where to buy Pokemon cards. So one of the best places to buy Pokemon cards is at your local card store. Just do a quick Google search and you're bound to find one near you. Many local stores carry a variety of Pokemon cards like ETBs, booster packs, booster boxes, and even the Japanese cards. And oftentimes during release day, they're able to knock off a few dollars, saving you some money. Shopping at your local stores is also a great way to connect with other collectors in your area. Plus, supporting your local businesses is a great way to give back to your community. Another option for buying Pokemon cards is through online sellers. Websites like TCG Player and eBay offer a variety of Pokemon cards and often at competitive prices. Shopping online is more convenient, but it does require a little bit more research, especially if you're hunting those rare cards, because Pokemon card scams have been on the rise recently. The official Pokemon website is another good place to buy Pokemon cards, and they often have exclusive boxes like the official Pokemon Center ETBs. Retail stores are another option, but not ones I recommend because they usually have limited selections and can potentially have higher prices. And lastly, trading with collectors is a great way to acquire Pokemon cards. Be on the lookout for Pokemon conventions or events, as they're a great place to go to if you're after more rare or valuable cards. So let's say you find a local card store and you decide to drive over there to check them out. You walk in and you see a wall like this. 2 questions will probably come to mind. Number 1, what am I looking at? So along the back wall is where the ETBs, booster packs, collection boxes, and tins will be displayed. The cases are usually sectioned off for individual cards by series and expansion, and is also where the rare cards will be stored. Number 2, which set should I buy first? It depends. If you're collecting certain Pokemon cards, then I recommend starting with individual cards. Starting small and collecting cards you really love will help you start build a collection that you're proud of and will enjoy looking at. If you want to complete an expansion, then I recommend starting with what you know. So I started collecting Pokemon cards again thanks to Pokemon Go. I was playing that game nonstop, and when I found out they were releasing an expansion, I drove to my local card store and picked up an ETB. Now, if you aren't familiar and you're starting with a clean slate, then I recommend starting with Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, which brings us to my third tip. What is going on in the world of Pokemon cards? Well, to give a very superficial explanation, there's a lot of things going on in the world of Pokemon. In the show, Ash and Pikachu's journey finally ended, making way to the new series, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. The Nintendo Switch game released on November 18, 2022, and the TCG released March 31, 2023. And this new chapter comes with big changes, one being the silver border. Since release, American cards have always had the yellow borders, but with Scarlet and Violet, we get the silver borders aligning us with the Japanese cards. These changes make Crown Zenith and the Scarlet and Violet base set highly sought after. So now that you figure out which cards you want to buy, you're going to want to store them properly. But before I go further, if you're enjoying this video and are getting value, please consider liking and subscribing. It helps out a lot. To protect your cards, store them in a cool and dry place, away from direct sunlight, as exposure to heat can damage the cards. Also, keep them in a place where they won't get bent or crushed, like on a shelf or in a binder. Use card sleeves and top loaders to protect from wear and tear, deck boxes to transport your decks when playing, storage boxes for larger collections and duplicates, magnetic holders for an extra layer of protection against bending or other damage. These are very useful for protecting rare cards that you want to keep in pristine condition, and binders to organize and display your cards. Which brings us to my last tip. When organizing your Pokemon cards, I recommend following the order in the player's guide. Every ETB will have a player's guide, and inside, it'll show all the cards in that expansion. Following them in the order listed is a great way to organize and keep track of the cards you've collected and easily see which ones you're missing. And there you have it. I hope this guide to starting a Pokemon card collection was helpful. Remember, the most important thing is to have fun and enjoy the process. Thanks for watching the video, and I'll see you next time.